Hi, everybody. Yakki Dachi here. Yes. Yeah, I'm trying to play. I'm planning to do 3 streams a week. Um, Usually between the days of Thursday to Sunday. So some days I'll skip one. Uh, Today we're going to talk about sports. I'll talk about tomorrow's stream. Well, I'll talk about right now, just so you guys know, and it's not a surprise. Um, Tomorrow, my Oshi Lumen Tsukiboshi, is having her first anniversary stream. So I don't want to miss it, and I don't want to miss streaming. So I thought I'd just do a watch along party and just watch her. She's an indie VTuber living in Japan, but she's a superb singer. If you haven't heard her yet, superb. And she's bringing a lot of friends and guests along, and she's roping her roommates in as usual, including the cat, to the stream. So it's going to be cute, fun. She always gives me a positive vibe. I hope she gives that to you guys as well. So it'll be a watch along with Lumen Tsukiboshi tomorrow, and maybe if it's a concert, but it seems like there's a lot of guests involved. Anyway, so we'll do a watch along and see how it goes. All right. Anyway, enough about tomorrow. Let's talk about today. Tomorrow, I'll also we'll talk about something that's happening tomorrow. At least in uh, by the time I wake up at around 3 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, a certain big sports event's going to be happening called the Super Bowl, and it'll be held the Philadelphia Eagles versus the Kansas City Chiefs. And a lot of my friends are excited to watch that. I do occasionally will talk about sports on this channel because even though the VTubers and stuff are also into gaming and that sort of thing, um, there's also sports. So there's esports and there's athletic sports, and football is one of them. So we will talk about that. My particular favorites are more towards baseball and hockey, but I will watch an NFL game. I did see Tom Brady's first Super Bowl win live. Uh, yeah, uh, the first of his 7 rings. I did watch that for the first game quite rapidly because he was not quite a rookie quarterback, but in the second season with the Patriots. America had just gone through the shock and awe of 9/11, and so yeah, there was a bit of a feeling of the people had to bring their A game, and it was certainly a very exciting game. I still remember the Adam Vinatieri field goal winner in the last moments of the the game to win it for the Patriots. I'm not particularly if I do lean towards an NFL team, it's going to be, of course, uh, the Seahawks, just because they are nearby to where I live in Canada. But because I'm a Canadian, I don't really have a lot invested in the NFL per se. So I do watch the Super Bowl with sort of a I don't have a dog in this fight kind of feeling, unless it's the Seahawks, of course. But even then, I tend to watch it with a bit of big word coming equanimity. There you go. So, but I thought, I've noticed this for a few years that wherever Tom Brady goes, though, teams tend to win. And I don't just mean his football team, I'm talking about the teams in his area. And so I had sort of this loose hypothesis sort of thing going where, maybe he had something to do with it. And I jokingly referred to it as the Tom Brady effect on sports teams because when he was in New England Patriots, of course, is a Boston area team, and then the Boston Bruins started winning the hockey club, and then the Boston Red Sox, their baseball team, started doing really well and winning World Series championships, and the Bruins were winning Stanley Cups. So let's go through that, and then the resurgence of the Tom Brady comeback up until 2019 when he was playing for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I think it was 3 seasons, right? And he won a Super Bowl championship as quarterbacking another team, which hasn't happened before in the NFL either. Um, yeah. And also Tampa Bay teams started picking up steam, like the Tampa Bay Rays for baseball and their World Series appearances, and the Tampa Bay Lightning, the NHL team there. So I do have a theory, and the theory starts with, well, shall we say, the first Super Bowl ad starring Tom Brady. And no, it was not a crypto coin or a pizza or beer ad. It was actually, and I remember seeing this ad when it first came out and was dumbfounded, going, that's your first ad? That's your debut Super Bowl ad?" It's also aired on the Super Bowl. We happen to win a certain numbers of rings. We'll see in a second. I'll I'll just show it to you.
Tom?
Hi.
Welcome to Shields MRI. Would you please remove all jewelry and place it in the locker?
Oh, yeah. Sure, no problem.
Tom Brady trusts Shields MRI. You can too.
Is that all?
Actually, no. I forgot this one. It's kind of new.
We're gonna need to get you a bigger locker.
Roger that.
Shields Healthcare. Go where the pros go.
Hey guys, Dr. Rob.
Okay, so I'm just gonna play it again one more time, and we'll talk to.
Hi.
Welcome to Shields MRI. Would you please remove all jewelry and place it in the locker?
Oh, yeah. Sure, no problem.
Tom Brady trusts Shields MRI. You can too.
Is that all?
Actually, no. I forgot this one. It's kind of new.
We're gonna need to get you a bigger locker.
Okay, so before he says the punchline, that was just when he won his fifth Super Bowl, and they added that special ending. They probably had two. They definitely had two commercials queued up, and one of them had the ending where he just takes off his rings, and the other one was when he has that extra one in his hoodie pocket. That's when he just won the game. So at the end of the game, sort of like a little ha ha, gotcha kind of moment. And then he says a certain line. Listen to this.
Roger that.
Roger that. Well, this is after the Deflategate scandal, and Roger Goodell, the NFL commissioner, had suspended him and the Patriots team, and for deflating footballs. Don't ask me why. It's a weird case. If you want to go through the whole court documents and that sort of thing and records, be my guest. You can find Deflategate, I'm sure, anywhere in Google or on ChatGPT or wherever you want to look for it. It's there. It's one of the weirdest sports scandals ever. But he says Roger that. So that's sort of a I'm sure a clandestine diss to the commish. So there you go. So why do I bring this up? Well, it's funny that your debut Super Bowl ad on the Super Bowl referencing what just happened in the field, and you got just your fifth ring. You finally got your fifth ring as QB, as the quarterback, and it's an MRI commercial. And that told me something. It's like, how much does Tom Brady value the medical profession in sports? And I'm willing to bet, as we shall see, how much he actually is involved in the health and practice in sports. And in another life, he might have been like a health and wellness practitioner for athletes. And in a way, he is now, quite controversial in ways, because, of course, wellness is a very broad category. And you go to medical school, but where do you get certified internationally for wellness school? Wellness is more of a broader term, and a lot of people have said, quite reasonably, they remain skeptical, and they're worried that it might be overselling its benefits, and I hear that, but there must have been something to it, because I'm just going to show you some evidence. All right, so So that's Tom Brady's commercial debut. And if it gets, oh yeah, I forgot to mention. I should have said this from the top. I'm trying a new format in YouTube. So what happens is that after I post this video or finish streaming, in 24 hours, I'm going to uh, uh, post this again. I'm going to private this after this. So this is not going to be immediately video on demand, a VOD after this. I'm going to edit this where my talkie bits stay on, and the video bits will be chopped out as a segment in a playlist. So the original rights holders will still get their numbers of views and stuff, and I get to float in between the playlists with my talkie bits, and hopefully we don't all get copyright struck. So I'm just working on copyright strikes and also giving credit where credit is due to the original creators who've made these videos possible. All right. So this is my innovation. Hopefully it'll work. Hopefully in 24 hours. I'm not that advanced in video editing skills, so forgive me if it takes a little bit longer. But anyway, it'll appear shortly after the Super Bowl, hopefully, and maybe that's what I'll be doing while I watch Lumen sing her heart out. Oh, what a cutie! Anyway, let's keep going. So that's the ad. I bet you guys were thinking it was not. It was actually quite funny. I really enjoyed it when it first came out. And let me say this: I was not a fan of Tom Brady at this point. By the time they had win number of 3 or 4, it was just like they were a dynasty. Some people were saying it was getting too predictable. I was one of those folks. It was getting too predictable for me, and I didn't want to see it. But at the same time, I was like, well, should have gave the ball to Marshawn. If that's too soon for you, Seahawks folks. Anyway, so truth is, this ad was sort of like, oh, I see a bit of an edge here. It's kind of funny. I kind of like it, and that's what sort of turned around for me. And then once it became basically a Tampa Bay Buccaneer, I was really a fan of Tom. So whatever. People change, I change, whatever. I'm just going to play a little something that you just saw a sneak peek of from a sports specialist on what's called the TB12 method. So what happened in this time is that um, Tom Brady had a consultant who was helping between the two develop their ideas of health, wellness, and quicker recovery from injury. So they were looking to prevent injuries, but also if you do have an injury, that your recovery time would be sped up and a heck of a lot faster. Now you're going to see how that's going to be beneficial for a lot of professional athletes and how this would affect the stats of the teams around the area of Tom Brady and his medical specialists. All right. So let's go see that next video. Here we go.
Hey guys, Dr. Robin here. Today we're going to give you a synopsis on Tom Brady's book, The TB12 Method. I recently listened to it on Audible, and I really liked the book, and I wanted to share some of what I thought were the highlights of it. A lot of controversy has been going around about his trainer recently, and I guess getting kicked out of the Patriots locker room.
Right.
And I wanted to kind of learn more about what he's doing, and obviously, love him or hate Tom Brady, you have to admire the guy. You got to respect the guy. 40 years old, his numbers are great, and they're continuing to stay good or get better. So, how does he do this, and what is he doing that we can do better in our own lives, even if we're not NFL players? What can we do to just perform our best at our daily activities?
Right.
And to take you back about Tom Brady, a little bit, he started to have elbow discomfort years ago, And he really, in his book, he talks about he wasn't able to really practice much after the games. He's constantly icing his arm, his elbow, and limited practice. And then game time, he would play, and his arm would constantly be in pain. Patriots player Willie McGinnis introduced him to Alex Guerrero, his trainer, and did some therapy on him, and his arm started to feel great after a couple sessions. And he said, well, whatever what you just did, can we do on my entire body as a preventative measure? And this is what Tom Brady calls pliability training, and he believes this is the missing link to most strength and conditioning regimens. And basically what he says is, as an NFL quarterback, his job, why does he have to bench press 300 pounds? Why does he have to squat 400 pounds? The job of a quarterback is to quickly drop back into the pocket, be agile enough to flee a defender, so kind of moving laterally, moving in different planes of motion, throw a ball, or to absorb a big force, to take a hit, right? So he said, when he starts to train and lift heavy weights, he's making his muscles more dense. And what happens is the more dense they become, the less likely they are to absorb a force. Basically what they're talking about in the book is that when we're born, we're very pliable. Our muscles are very long at rest. They can contract. We don't really have the strength. So, that's okay to strength train and to lift heavy weights as we, are in our adolescence, not, 20s, 30s. We need to have more strength and pliability because we naturally have that. But as we get older, our muscles become more dense, more short. And if you think about it, a muscle.
So I'm just gonna pause it there because I myself, as a self-professed old guy, I can certainly attest that my muscles are nowhere near as pliable as I was when I was younger. Um, they there's some I joke when I was doing yoga. I always joke with my yoga instructor that I'm as flexible as a noodle, still in the box, sitting on the store shelf. In other words, I've gotten stiff over time, right? And one of the I'm hoping what I do as a VTuber is attract an audience of older folks who want to hang out with the younger folks and just sort of sharing an intergenerational understanding between all of you, uh, to share knowledge of the current knowledge that the younger generation definitely enjoys, and to give back to the more older folks like myself in the community, and vice versa, that we have as as older generations have a wealth of knowledge that we can give to the younger folks who will be listening to this broadcast. So I really hope that that's my main mission, is intergenerational sharing and understanding. So what this does the doctor is talking about is Dr. Todd Rodman is talking about is pretty cogent. It is controversial because I'm sure there's probably not a lot of academic papers drawn up on this method. So whether it actually falls into the realm of science or not, I don't know. But this is one of the things that soft tissue is always going to be a bit of um, uh, a controversial topic, right? Because some people have, issues with chiropractic, chiropractors and that sort of thing, and other soft tissue specialists. So yeah, it's always going to be contentious, but or is hot yoga better than regular yoga? And da 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 da. I mean, there's a whole gamut that you can run in there, and there's not actually a lot of papers written on these things, right? So take this with a grain of salt, but I just want to say that Tom Brady is starting to has become influential in the health and wellness segment. So, as if the guy hasn't done enough. Well, and the less we talk about the crypto, the better. But or his family life. But I didn't say he was perfect. I'm just saying in this case, how does he affect sports teams in his area when he was an active quarterback. Let's keep going.
Well, a lot of people think our muscles are just to make us move, but what they do is they're also shock absorbers. So they're supposed to absorb a shock. And if you think of like a car shock absorber, right? If you ever see one like a spring, it starts out long, and then when it needs to absorb shock, it shortens, right? So if your muscles are constantly shortened from contracting and lifting heavy weights, they get short and dense, and now they don't have as much ability to absorb a force. So basically, that was a real eye-opener, and something that as a sports chiropractor, we already naturally try to talk to our patients about. Long muscles are able to be healthier muscles. If you are always contracting, you need to elongate and reset them so that they can do their job properly. And I think what he did was he just kind of coined the phrase pliability training, which is great because it'll now get out there and be a bigger thing than it can be if I were just to tell it to you. But I do believe that this is really something that people need to do, not just for injuries, but as Tom Brady has been doing it. He's defying all odds. He's 40 years old. His numbers are better than ever. He wants to play till he's 45. The guy is doing amazing. The average NFL career is around 3.3 years. He's been playing, I believe, 17 years.
Yeah.
So I think that this is a really valid thing that he is talking about. It's definitely worth a listen to. So pliable muscles are healthy muscles. What he talks about in the book is him with Alex Guerrero.
Right.
Is a therapy that they do. And basically, it's concentrated deep force muscle work while the muscle is fully contracting and relaxing. So the therapist will apply pressure while the person on the table is contracting and relaxing that specific targeted muscle. And he says that's what primes his muscles to get into the state to absorb a force. To me, that sounds very similar to a therapy that we do in the office here called active release technique. But instead of just getting it on an injured area, he's getting it on his entire body to basically use it as a preventative way to optimize his athletic performance. He also talks about a lot of people train for maximal strength, which means that you're as strong as you can possibly be. Well, he thinks what you need to do is think about optimal strength, which is think about your daily job. What are you doing in life? What do you need to be strong for? And get as much strength as you need for that activity, but don't neglect the pliability of your muscles. The more we go for maximal strength, the more dense and shortened our muscles become, the less pliable, the less able to absorb shock, the more tendinitis we're going to get, the more muscle tears we're going to get, the more arthritis we're going to get down the road because we're not really absorbing shock very well with our muscles. So now our joints are getting damaged. So a very interesting book. Pliability was his number one step to peak performance. Number two, he said, hydrate. He said about half of your body weight with water and electrolytes. The third thing he said is to reduce caffeine, soda, and alcohol because that's very dehydrating. You need to make sure you're drinking more water with electrolytes if you are having those as well.
All right. Yeah, that's yeah. You heard it right there. Less soda. Well, yeah. I mean, how many gamers here who are listening to this would just say, "Yeah, I'm quitting soda tomorrow. I'm quitting pop." I hate to admit it. I mean, if anyone's listened to my streams, even just in the last, I haven't streamed a lot, but even just in the last couple, I mentioned my affinity for ginger ale. It's only because my tummy gets a bit upset at times, so I have to make sure that my tummy's happy. So I have noticed taking more probiotics has helped that, of course. So probiotics supplements and I've reduced my need for that kind of stuff. But yeah, every once in a while, I get a super upset tummy, and I drink ginger ale just to sell that thing. And it's so I don't know what that says about me. Maybe I need a TB12 clinic to give me the workover. I have no idea. I would like to give it a try myself, to be honest. because I do have some chronic issues, but I won't bore you with those unless they come up on stream on the right context. But yeah. Anyway, let's keep going. So hydrate, less pop. Ay caramba.
The fourth thing he says to eat real food. Real food is something that is not processed, something that is organic, something that is fresh. Number five, he said vegetables, eat them raw. If possible, try to eat most of your vegetables raw. Number six, he said shop locally, eat local food, and avoid frozen, something that was traveled from far to get to your grocery store, something that has thawed out and been refrozen. He said to eat fresh is part of his steps to peak performance. Number seven was to limit the chronic inflammatory type foods, which he says is processed foods, is fast foods, and the 5 Ws, which is white breads, white pasta, white salt, white milk, and white potatoes. So that was number.
All right, so how many of you are going to drop the 5 Ws? Yeah. No white pasta, no white bread, no white potatoes, no white milk. I don't know what he means by that, because if I drink chocolate milk, does that mean that's all right? Yeah. So yeah, it's a very different diet. And it definitely doesn't fall into the only sort of diet it might fall into is more of the raw vegetable diet, right? You've heard of that one. Everything's, so trying to reduce the amount of processing in your diet as possible. I think it might fall into that so much. But anyway, he has a very specific do's and don'ts in that, um, and of course, Tom Brady's not a licensed dietitian, or a registered dietitian, I mean. So, yeah, take this with a grain of salt as well. But again, I'll talk about the results on neighboring teams. Let's just we're in the the clubhouse turn, as they say in horse racing, using a sports analogy. The video. Let's keep watching.
Number seven on his 12 steps to peak performance. Number eight, he said supplement. A minimum, you want to have a multi and a B complex, according to his book. Number nine is to make sure you're supplementing with protein powder or a bar after workouts, especially to help rebuild and repair your muscles. Also, snack when hungry. Number 10, recenter yourself every day. Do something you love or meditate to rebalance your internal environment. Number 11 was brain fitness. Practice plasticity-based brain exercises to keep the brain in an optimal condition. And the last thing he said, which was number 12 on his steps to peak performance, was to rest. Make sure you get 8 hours of sleep every night. Try to go to sleep at the same time so you can build that habit. So there is my synopsis on Tom Brady's TB12 method. Great book. Obviously, he's doing something right. Something to listen to, and take what you can out of it. Maybe you don't do all those 12 steps, but definitely applying some of those to your life will improve your peak performance, and hopefully we can all be as good as him.
Yeah, so points to ponder from the TB12 method. For those of you who don't know, 12 was the number on his jersey. So for Tom. So in case, a lot of it may not apply to you, but some of it's good advice, right? I mean, hydrate, rest, add more protein in your diet, after a workout. I mean, those sound pretty good, sound, basic advice. And then there's the other stuff. But the pliability, I think, that's why it's ranked as number one, because he's thinking about the strength of his muscles and the length of his muscles, right? So what does that do with sports championships? Well, you know what? That last line that Dr. Rodman said was interesting. He said, "Well, so we just be all like him." So if you're looking at a 40-plus-year-old quarterback who's still winning championships, and you're, say, on the Boston Red Sox, maybe you got some insider knowledge, and you go, I think that might work out for me. When you think about it. I'm not making Tom Brady money, but I could maybe get one or two of his doctors to have a look at me. And so, because of the private healthcare network in the States, um, I'm in Canada, so we have a public health system, and so frequently we do have uh, injuries with professional athletes here, but it's a mix of private and public care. Mostly public, private only if they go, say, to the United States for treatment where there is private health care, right? As we will talk in a minute. Um, so that's one of the things that is interesting. So the private healthcare network, it could be almost be as exclusive as a gated community or a private club, because you need only the entrance into that sphere of medicine may be being a professional athlete. Rumor has it that James spends $1 million a year on his own body work, right, just to keep himself in shape and play as long as he has. So, anyway, getting a little off track. Let's see what's the next video here. Oh, yeah. So I mentioned the Red Sox championships. Let me just go over the track records of the Boston teams that were around during the Tom Brady era, and I developed a little chart here. Here we go. Sorry, it's not on the screen. I just have it on my phone. Maybe if I get to professional editing and I can rebroadcast this thing when there's a bigger audience. I don't know. Up to you. But you know what? I'll just post in the community post. That's what I'll do. Is my messy notes on the championships. So yeah, yeah. So in 2004, the Red Sox swept the Cardinals for the first World Series championship in 86 years. So they had an 86-year drought up until 2004. This would be year three or four of Tom Brady's time in New England, in the same pretty much the same area, right? So they had an 86-year drought with the Red Sox because of the curse of Babe Ruth. But the 2005 they had a banged up pitching staff that couldn't hold off the eventual winners, the Chicago White Sox, and they had fallen into a division series sweep to the White Sox. Yeah, yeah. Then they were decimated by injuries in 2006, but they had a 59-36 record on July 21st, but then the bottom fell out. Yeah, and 2007. Another World Series sweep of the Colorado Rockies, so they won their second championship of that era. And Yeah. So and they came within just a few runs short in Game 7 of 2008 World Series, and then in 2009. 2009, they got swept by the Angels in the division series. So, so they had a really good 2000s along with the New England Patriots, which doesn't wouldn't surprise anyone, right? New England Patriots had a heck of a run, and sorry, leaning back there for a second. I'm just getting too comfortable. I have a really nice, comfy chair, a nice, uh, really nice uh, Herman Miller. I got a Herman Miller chair, yeah. And when I get too cozy, I just want to lean back and sort of disappear for a while. And I just kind of, you can probably hear me from back there. Hopefully, I just got my head tilted back and I'm just zoning out. But focus, focus. Um, yeah. So yeah. So 2009, they had their peak performance was pretty much the 2000 to early 2010s, right? But they continued to have great playoff success until I don't know when Brady left uh, in 2019. So he left in 2019, and all of a sudden the prospects of the Red Sox went down. The Boston Bruins. Let's go look at their record at that time. So Boston Bruins. So another neighboring uh, uh, sports club and NHL and hockey. My personal favorite professional sport because I'm Canadian. So yeah, that's my jam. So not a real Boston fan, only because I tend to follow the Vancouver Canucks, and I think anyone who's a Canucks fan already knows the checkered history with Boston and Vancouver. I did see Tim Thomas's first game against Vancouver against Luongo uh, at then GM Place, and Tim Thomas put on quite the show, and the Canucks lost. And I didn't realize at the time that that was going to be the foreshadowing of Game 7 of the Stanley Cup and the 2011 run against those two teams. Oh boy, talk about foreshadowing. Anyway, yeah. So that was in 2011. So that was again around the time of Tom Brady's presence there. And I have no real evidence for this because there seems to be informal contact between sports doctors in different disciplines for different sports athletes. So I don't have anything concrete. What has become more concrete is uh, Tom Brady's involvement with the NHL, surprisingly, and it doesn't come from with the Bruins, even though I'm quite sure the Bruins benefited as a side effect of Tom Brady's presence, especially with that Shields MRI. And you go to the Shields MRI website or not the website, but I checked the ad at the time. You can see the sports logos pop up on the ad, and then you'll see the Celtics, you'll see the Bruins, and you'll see the Patriots. So yes, Shields MRI was definitely involved, and I'm sure they had a hand in helping those teams. Another, I forgot to mention, the other side benefit of being in that area is something called Harvard Medical School in Harvard, right? So they have Harvard Medical School, which is like one of the top medical schools on the planet, for crying out loud. So either any one of those grads would have been great uh, to tap into for a sports health network, right? So they had so many advantages. That's one of the reasons why I tend to think, especially with some Canadian cities like Toronto and Vancouver. They get hit with the injury bug, and I'm going, well, yeah, because we don't have a Harvard Medical School nearby. Like, where's our Harvard Medical School? Where's our world class school of medicine here in Canada? Right? We have decent schools, don't get me wrong, but they don't compare, right? So, uh, as the old joke in real estate is location, 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 right? So they have the right location. Um, yeah. So that's enough of my rant about Boston area. Let's go look at let's go look when Tom changes addresses and starts playing for Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And let's go check out what his effect in Tampa Bay is possibly. Here we go.
We haven't had a three-peat since 1983. What's the biggest challenge of winning 3 in a row in your mind?
I think it's tough enough to win 1. We've done 2, so you might as well go for 3, right? Are we pushing it with 3? Who knows? But that's the goal, and I think there's motivation in itself. That would really put that
what a beautiful trophy
into the conversation. We always joke,
man.
Tom Brady comes. Coincidence that he comes in all these championships? I don't know, but it's sure a fun story.
So you're a big fantasy sports guy.
Yeah, it started actually.
So did you hear that? Coincidence?
Now it's just diehard fantasy football.
Are you the commish?
Coincidence? Tom Brady's there and they start winning.
Is one of the trainers on our team. I give him crap all the time. It gets pretty competitive.
I could see you being a GM one day.
Yeah, I definitely enjoy all aspects of the sport, and definitely something to think about down the line.
Yeah,
How long
Stamkos.
play, you think?
I love
Stammer.
the game. I love hanging around my teammates, and the competitive juices are flowing come game time. As long as the body's feeling good, I'll try. I mean, I've taken up the TB12 method a little bit too. In
Breaking
Tampa,
news.
so
Do you eat kale?
yeah, I eat kale. I mean, I'm not as diehard as Tom, I don't think, but they have the TB12 clinic set up in Tampa, and I'm a frequent flyer there.
What's your cheat day?
The funny part is if I go a few games without a goal or something, then I always have to stop for a Big Mac on the way home.
Big Mac.
That's the slump buster. It used to be like if I went 3 games without a goal. Now I've got a little older, so I let it slide a little. It's like 5-6 games without a goal.
Steven Stamkos crushes Big Macs.
Yeah.
Thank you for watching ESPN on YouTube. For live streaming sports and premium content, subscribe to ESPN+.
Running is like
Okay, so I'll get the running back guy, but oh my god, yeah. Like I said, take what you can from the TB12 method. I'll have kale, and then I'll have a Big Mac. Oh my god. Oh, that's funny. Or as I'm sure a wellness coach would have put it, it's all about balance. Uh, uh, kale, Big Mac, kale, balance. Oh my god! But so, there was actually how I got to know that the Coastal Association of TB12 and the Tampa Bay Lightning was that Alex Guerrero and Tom Brady were actually in the Tampa Bay Lightning locker room once after a game, just chatting with the boys there. So think about that. Think about that. Sorry, I'm leaning in again because I got too relaxed and lean back again. Okay, I'm gonna just adjust my chair so I don't lean back so far. It's work time. Is Think about it. Alex Guerrero. I mean, okay, Tom Brady can go into any sports locker room. I mean, if he wants to invite himself into any sports locker room, I'm sure anyone would be glad to have him in there. Just to be a big boost in morale and a morale boost to the team. I'm gonna get to that in a second too. But at the same time, it's like, oh my God, Alex Guerrero's there. Why would his personal trainer be there? I thought. I read this in the Tampa Bay Times newspaper. And by the way, support your local journalists because a lot of the more esoteric stuff and little nuggets when I do my investigations come from local journalists. They add an extra color, an extra note to the thing, right? Because all the cameras are focused on Tom Brady, but none of them are focused on Alex Guerrero, his personal trainer and coach who helped him teach about pliability, right? And so he probably it's no I don't think it's a coincidence that the Tampa Bay Lightning win back-to-back Stanley Cups the same time Tom Brady's there, right? And at the same time, the Tampa Bay Rays, their baseball team, go to the World Series twice. I don't think they won, but they went there twice. They went to the Big Show twice, right? So again, I just can't believe the influence this guy had on sports. And one more thing about uh, Tom Brady and hockey, and his then wife Giselle Bundchen, who is most famous for being a Victoria's Secret model. I never saw her in that capacity. I just enjoyed her work in the Devil Wears Prada. Yes, I'm going to do a video stream essay like this one, but based on fashion. So I'm pretty esoteric, guys. Sorry. I mean, you got your hockey and you get your fashion, whatever. That's me. And I hope to create something that will you guys will enjoy. But I'm enjoying the process myself. So I got don't yuck on my yum. Um, yeah. So the connection is that Sidney Crosby, captain of the Pittsburgh Penguins, uh, still the best Pittsburgh Penguin player on the team. After decades, well over. I don't know when did the kid come into the Penguins. I forget now, but anyway, let me just pull up the article on Sidney Crosby. And sorry, this is on my phone again. I would put it up on the screen, but I don't know how to do that just yet on OBS on the video platform I have here. So I'm typing in my Google Sidney Crosby and Giselle Bundchen, the Brazilian supermodel, and not Tom Brady. I'll tell you why in a second. Okay, so under LarryBrownSports.com, and I'm just going to paraphrase this. So the star center for the Pittsburgh Penguins, Sidney Crosby, list most of. He missed a season because he got hit to the head back to back in back-to-back games, and he was diagnosed with a concussion. And they thought because he was gone for about a year, that meant his career was over. So that was it. His run has run out. He had hit the end of the rope because no thanks to injuries. Kind of sucks. But he thought that his medical treatment in Pittsburgh was lacking, and so uh, he went to Utah to see a specialist and discovered that he had problems in the C1 and C2 vertebrae, which is in the spine, right near the skull. And Bob McCown on Sportsnet 590, which is a Toronto sports radio station, The Fan, as we call it, 590 The Fan, and Bob McCown of Sportsnet 590 said that Crosby went to Utah to see specialists on the advice of his friends Tom Brady and Giselle Bundchen. Now, why is she mentioned? Isn't Tom Brady the specialist in the health nut? Well, I think one of the reasons why they got together is because they both had a passion for wellness. And I can't find the clip anymore, but I do remember seeing that clip and being dumbfounded with what Bob McCown said. And on the Bob McCown broadcast, he said that Crosby had called Tom seeking advice about his concussion injury, And Giselle overheard the conversation and said, basically, honey, tell Sydney about that specialist you went to see in Utah. So she kind of reminded Tom of the specialist in Utah, and that's where Sidney Crosby eventually went to get looked at and then get properly diagnosed and get healed to the point that he's still playing today. He's still one of the top point getters on the team, right? And this happened 12 years ago. So Sidney Crosby's career has been extended, for years. And is it because of TB12? Well, he hasn't publicly said so. But think about that, right? I mean, this is the guy. This is the player who helped get Canada, you know, the gold medal in 2010, and a year later he's looking at quitting his career, and then Tom Brady helps him do that, and help Sydney win some more medals for Canada. You should have been helping Team USA, but anyway, be that as may, as a proud Canadian, I'm happy to hear that Tom Brady had helped out his a fellow Canadian in a time of need in sports. The funny thing also is that Tom Brady was also a very excellent baseball player, and so in the time that he was drafted by the NFL, he was also drafted for Major League Baseball as a catcher for the Montreal Expos. Think about that, folks. He could have been a Montreal Expo in another universe. And in another universe, the Montreal Expos would probably still be in Montreal, but they're not. Oh, my second favorite Canadian team. Well, there's only two Canadian teams anyway. So first one's of course the Blue Jays. And if you look at my community post, you can see my little Blue Jays little badge on my comic book shelf, my manga shelf. And oh god, yeah. If I want to get into torpor, I can talk about the Blue Jays contract situations, but I won't. But but yeah. So I'm just looking at the new Toronto Blue Jays badge right now. I always face it when I do a stream, and yeah, he could have been a Montreal Expo. That'd be weird, right? Tom Brady as a catcher for the Expos. Now they're the Washington Nationals. They finally won a World Series. But yeah. Anyway, let's go play another video. So that's Tom Brady's connection with hockey, and it's quite a big contribution. Let's go see what this guy has to say here, this runner.
Running is like breathing to me. I'm Paul Sullivan, 55-year-old marathoner. Want to always get better. I'm very competitive with myself. I want to run pain-free. I look at TB12, and what I wanted to do was to make sure that I can run not only pain-free, but really stopping that injury from happening in the first place. If I did have an injury, like I had injuries in the past, prior to coming to TB12, I'd be down for 3 to 6 weeks.
There you go, chest tall, chest tall. Great job.
I thought the method was a great way to help people recover and get better faster. And that's sort of the name of the game, especially when you're dealing with clients and individuals who are especially motivated like Paul is. They want to get better as quickly as possible.
Yeah, speed of recovery.
My training, what is impacting me and what we work on, because I can't afford one day of not working out.
You'll find out why he can't stop working out.
Back knees going straight down to the ground, chest staying tall and back.
Over the last year, I did a 308 in Dallas, I did a 320 in Boston, 315 in New York, and 308 in Dallas for full marathons. A couple of weeks ago in the New York City half marathon, I was able to do a 128. Not only look at that 128 as a 93-second PR for my half marathons, overall, of everybody, there are 22,000 runners, and I came in the top 4%. And I can tell you, I wouldn't have got those results and achieved those results without the work that I'm doing here at TB12. It's all those little pivots to really give me that advantage, so I'll have the confidence when I'm on the starting line. An advantage I have over a lot of folks is they don't take advantage of TB12, and they don't take advantage of the recovery, the tissue work.
There's a big emphasis on manual therapy and soft tissue mobilization that's unique to TB12, and I think a big part of it too is everything's individualized.
And again, this is not medical advice, everybody. So don't go rushing out and buying TB12 packages right now. And they're not a sponsor of mine, trust me. I just wanted to just highlight what there's one more thing, one more edge potentially that this gives, and I'll get to it after. Well, I think we've got another like 30 seconds, and I'll get to what that edge is.
I always say that it takes a village to run a marathon. The TB12 body coaches are part of that village. I have ulcerative colitis, and when I can run a marathon, I'm beating that disease.
You do not need to be an athlete to come to TB12. We treat everybody. So if you hate working out and sports are not really your thing, if you're in pain, this is going to be a great place for you because we specialize in getting people out of pain. As one of the body coaches that's able to treat Paul, it's a privilege to be on the team that plays a role in helping him stay healthy.
Someone will always ask me, how long do I want to run? I want to run forever, and I don't have a number that I'm going to stop at. Boston will be my 66th marathon. I just want to keep running.
Yeah. So again, I wanted to show this because it's it's not some young fit buck who's talking here, showing off whatever. Showing off all youthful energy they got. This is a guy in his 50s and he's running marathons. Okay, I definitely don't run marathons. But yeah. But the edge. So what is the edge that TB12 gives professional athletes and people like Paul? So maybe it's pain management. Maybe it's the range of motion that they get, greater range of motion from the exercises. Maybe it's the ability for the muscles to recover quicker, more quickly, as my English teacher would say, more quickly after a game. Or maybe it's the 6 inches between your ears. In other words, maybe it just gives you confidence saying, if it's good enough for Tom Brady, it's good enough for me. And you walk out there with your chest a little higher and your back a little straighter, and you're just strolling out, feeling confident, willing to take on anything. Because remember, sports is also about psychology, right? So how much of this is physical and how much of it is mental? I'll leave that up to you guys to decide because, of course, it's a mix. It's very mixed, and yeah, I'll leave it up to you guys to figure that out. Anyway, that's sort of where I want to end with the Tom Brady portion of my stream. Yeah, I haven't seen this covered at any VTuber channel. I wonder why. Just because I'm an old guy and I'm still into old sports. All right, so millennials, you guys, you have a wealth of esports to draw upon, and I get it. I see the joy, especially in, let's say, Doki Bird in our Marvel Rivals tournaments, right? And roasting people on their League of Legends play, right? So I get it. It's fun. But for some of us of an age that grew up in the pre-digital era, sports was where it's at. And for example, my workout routine involves trying to swim 1K a day. So That's so that's 1,000 meters swimming every day, and it helps with my chronic issues. And I love it. I wouldn't change it for the world. And like like Paul said in the video there, and other people, they want to just keep doing what they want to do forever. And I'm sure if you guys have that amount of fun with what you do, you'd like to do it for forever as well. So if you have any questions, comments, or disagreements or agreements with what you've seen tonight, please comment below. Please like and subscribe, because it really helps with the algorithm. And I'm just a small VTuber just starting out, so I'm not even again, like I said, I'm not even a real live 2D studio VTuber yet. It's still in the works. I've got someone commissioned to make my model, and once I do, it'll be a whole new debut and lore and that sort of thing, hopefully. But anyway, at any rate, thank you all for watching. And like I said, tomorrow I'm doing a watch along with Lumen Tsukiboshi on her channel. I believe it's 9 o'clock. It starts on Sunday, and I'm going to be tuning in for that, and we'll watch along, and I'll be just fanboying over the whole episode because she's wonderful. I've been a fan of hers since she was before, when she only had 3 digits to her subscribers, and now she's at 9.98 or something ridiculous like that. She's on the tippy toes of getting 10K subs, which is amazing. And I want to see her get there. So tomorrow we'll be doing a watch along, and you get to see her talents as well. Anyway, have a good night. This is Yakki Dachi saying that if you look hard enough, there's beauty everywhere. Peace out.